In this video, I'll demonstrate how to use the object selection and select and mask tools to cut out a detailed illustration from the background. Again, using Bridge as my file browser, this is the image that I want to select and remove. This is from the Biodiversity Heritage Library and is free to use under the Creative Commons license. Double click to open in Photoshop, and here we are. So the complexity with this image is, you can see it's finely detailed. There's some JPEG artifact around the outside because it's an image that is about 2000, you can see down the bottom here, 2000 by 2600 pixels. So there's a little bit of compression artifact there. And of course, there's the reverse of the page coming through, and there's some information there. So it's not an easy one because of the detail and because of the fuzziness of the edges. But let's see what we can do. So Command 0 will fit on screen. Okay, so we could use the lasso tool or the pen tool to select this, but it's quite fiddly, so I just wanted to show you the object selection tool, and this can be quite useful actually. So the challenge here is whether it's going to be any good. So by selecting that, and I'm going to click and drag over the whole lot. Let's see how it responds to this. Okay, excellent. So it's got most of the frog. It's avoided the text here, which is great. And you can see here that I'm in the additive mode. So with the plus, any further selections I make will add to the current selection. There we go. So I'm just going to click over these fingers that are missing. Quickly, maybe go over the end of this. Okay, so you can see this, it's selected badly. If I wanted to, I could go on the minus and just go in. It's still a bit messy for my liking, so I'll just trim that up. Okay, it's still going up. There we go. And let's just pull in the rest of this foot here. Still doesn't like that. So, you know, it's a little hit and miss, but it's quite a quick way of refining things should you need. So not happy about that, so I'm going to Command Z, and just see if I can pull in, there we go, refine my selection a little bit. So we can see here there's some negative space, and I want to try and extract that, so just pulling that in, not bad. Okay. Okay, that's not too bad, I don't think, and we can have a look at that as we go. So, with that roughly selected, I'm going to show you up the top here, we've got select and mask. Also, you can do that from the select drop down. So, select and mask brings up a slightly different dialog, and we can see here There are some controls on the side that we could adjust, and you can see here we have a quick mask around the outside, and if we just zoom into that, you can see that fingers need some refining, etc. So this can affect the opacity, which is kind of useful to seeing where the mask areas are, and it's possible here to be able to bring up some settings to control the edge detection. So I'm just going to pull that up to 1 pixel and just going to smooth 1 pixel and maybe feather here. So you can play around with these settings to see what works for you. On the left here we have some brush options. I start with the bottom one, which is a brush tool, and we can adjust the size at the top here, and also the hardness and the spacing, etc. And I like to use the square bracket tools to quickly increase the size if necessary. So the brush tool here is quite hard, and if you select plus, it will reveal the image, and if you paint over the image you can just tidy up any overlap of the masking. Okay, so you can play around with this. Obviously if you have access to a Wacom tab, this is going to be a little bit quicker, and you can refine the brush to make things a little bit more accurate. In this instance I'm using a mouse, but quite happy with what's going on. Okay, so if I need to add to the mask, I can click the minus up here and just go in some fine detail. So, and we can see around here where it didn't really do a particularly good job, and then on the plus I'm just going to put in here. So that gives the gist of it. Okay. So it's going to take a while to tidy this up. So let's have a look down here. The top brush, which is a quick selection tool, this enables us to kind of select, but you often get a little bit of fuzziness where it's trying to snap, if you like. So I've overdone it there. So it's trying to snap to the edge. So you need to be very, very careful with that. Okay, so again, that tool has a purpose sometimes, but you really need to kind of play around. And again, you can just refine it should you wish. So that's not really working for me, so I'm going to Command Z, and here it's going to give me the option to bring up the refine edge tool, refine edge brush tool, which if I pull it in here just allows you to smooth that edge a bit. Okay, so you work out what really works best for you. It's not that one, still not that one. Refuses to be that one. So I would say it's the brush tool, and you can really try and get a much better line there. So another kind of trick that's quite useful to know is when you're using any of these tools, if you want to create a straight line, if you click once, press down the shift key, that's the upward arrow, and then click again with the shift key held down, you can pull in a straight edge. That's really useful for trimming up, well, particularly straight edges or pretty straight edges. Okay, so I'm just gonna click on the minus for the refine edge tool and just see if I can. Oh, I think we need to go on there for that. Okay, just really working through and getting it as neat as I can. So at this point, what I'm going to do is quickly rush through this and do a fast forward so we can see the end results. And here we are, we're back again, and I'm just going to have a look, and okay, so that's not too bad. Okay, quite happy with that, I think, for the best part. And if I now click OK, it will offer me a selection. Now I can refine this slightly should I wish. By going to select and modify, so I can expand if I want to expand by 1 pixel. This might just give me a slightly wide edge, which might be useful. I can also go to select, modify and feather, and this will slightly blend. So just 1 pixel of each should do the job. Okay, so I am now going to Command and C to copy this, and I could add this to another document, but in this case what I'm going to do is just to deselect, and I'm going to add, or actually what I'm going to do is just unlock this layer, and I will go to layer, new layer, have it as a transparent layer. Okay, if I click on the eye layer there of the floating background layer, click on the new layer and Command V, we now have a frog. It's nicely cut out. I'm quite happy with the edge. I could clean it up a little bit should I wish, but to be honest with you, for my purposes, I think it's quite nice. So what I could do here is, it's a little bit clumsy, but basically if I select this, select all and Command X, so that's now floating on the background layer. Not this important, but I just like to keep my process really tidy. So if I have a Photoshop document, I've got my cutout layer here and my safety net layer behind that. So to save, Command Shift S, and I can save that as a PSD, and again, because it's got a different suffix, it's a different file format, I can save it as frog, but I could also rename it frog cutout, so I know exactly what's going on there, and I'm going to save that in here. Okay, so that is, I think, a fairly good process for neatly cutting out an image, illustration, etc. Obviously it will take a little bit of practice and there's some time to be spent with the select and mask tool, but I would recommend it's worth having a play around just to develop your skills a little bit and see what works best for you. Okay, thanks very much.